You can see me now? Yeah, okay. Perfect.
Looking good. Did you use my Seeking Alpha?
Yeah, it works. Yeah. Thank you so much, brother.
All right.
Yeah. But maybe I will start the blog there, I was thinking.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Doing awesome.
Fine, thank you.
Awesome. Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. Cool. So David broke the website yesterday.
Yeah.
Mateo, if you haven't if you haven't been on the masterclass or the blog, pretty much everything is broken right now. David figured out an issue that we were having, that the www.valueinvestingjourney.com link was going to ClickFunnels, which hosts our masterclass and all of our other programs and all of our other stuff. So we fixed that. But now, having fixed that, it broke everything on ClickFunnels somehow. So my tech person is working to restore the website. And as of right now, the website hasn't been up for about 20 hours straight. So
okay. I was not on the website, so I don't know.
Man, you bad boy.
So, and then this is the problem with tech issues that we continue to run into, is fix one thing and then literally it breaks something else, and nothing that we would even thought about that it would break. So I don't know. Okay. We literally have no idea what's going on, but we're working to get that up and fixed. David, I just sent you the for Masterclass Week 2 session, so you can download those on YouTube.
Cool, thanks. Thank you.
And I can get you Week 3 as well. When you are ready for that, just let me know. And yeah, at this point, it's been down for 20 hours, so I have no idea when it's going to be back.
Yeah, but before was working, was just you wanted to fix something that David wanted you to fix.
Well, he brought up a good point, that it was leading our because our main site doesn't have a www apparently. I didn't know that. I've had the site for 6 years. I didn't know that. But if you type in www.valueinvestingjourney.com, it takes you, it redirects to our site, and then it automatically redirects you for some reason to ClickFunnels. And it was showing up in Google search rankings that we were affiliated, that it was a ClickFunnels site, which it's not. And so we figured, after David brought that to our attention, I was like, oh, we need to fix this because it's going to lower our Google search ranking, lower our SEO, lower our people finding us on Google and YouTube and all this stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And then so we fixed that, and then it broke literally everything else.
Cool.
As far as I know, nothing on ClickFunnels is working right now. None of our pages on ClickFunnels are working right now, and the website's been down for like 20 hours. The Value Investing Journey website's been down for like 20 hours.
I'm really sad, but I just want to point out, I'm just trying to help.
Thanks, David. No, it's all good. No, it's all good. It's not your fault. It's something. We continue running into these. We literally fix one thing, and then something else breaks because of it. And we've been running into these issues for like 6 months now. So it keeps slowing down our progress on everything else. Some of the other stuff you guys are talking about, like the quizzes and the certifications and these live trainings. This is one of the issues we had one of their live trainings early. It's going to affect. I was planning on doing a live valuation training next week for the ASXFY case study, because we're at the valuation stage of that, and it's going to affect that now because everything is down on that. So. We just continue having these issues. And even before this, we were just messing with some of the plugins, trying to get the site looking better when we redid the site last year. And literally anytime we would update a plugin or add a new plugin, most of the time it works, but sometimes it would just bring the site completely down. So that would force us to waste an entire day getting the site back up and trying to fix things. So.
Have you thought about hosting it on like other websites like Udemy or some kind of online kind of thing?
Yes, we have. My problem with Udemy is they put such a low value on courses. Most of them are like $97 or below. which is fine for like some of our other courses. We have content we could put in there as like a kind of beginner's level course, which I have no problem with. But again, we just keep getting backed up with all this other stuff. So,
but actually, there is another platform that maybe you can use. It's teachable.com, and
I've never
it's
used
like
that one.
because I know someone that use it, and I think it's better, but I don't know if you can do whatever you want. Like maybe there is some limit, but at least it should work better. So maybe you can try. I don't know. You can try that.
We are definitely looking into other options because we have had. I mean, I love ClickFunnels. It's great software. It works. When it works, it's fantastic. The problem is it continues to not work on a pretty consistent basis. So, at least for us, and we've had nothing but problems. So. Okay, so it's 9.
Maybe
so
you can look at that.
Yeah, no, we're definitely looking into the other options. So it's 9. I'll give it till 9:05 until we kind of officially start, because Shafiq said he was going to try to make it this time, but I haven't heard anything from him in a couple days. So
does this affect your business?
Yes, definitely. Literally everything's down. Nobody can access anything right now, as far as I know, in terms of our website, which is where we do all of our stuff. So our post that is scheduled to go out, we have a post scheduled to go out at 10 my time, 10 a.m., so about an hour from now. So that won't go out, so people won't see the links for that. They won't see the links that are in that for the training. I think the training vault, and to get into our some of our my book for free. So all of our marketing is pretty much gone right
now. Yeah, but where you have the
mailing list in the Facebook group.
But where you host the website? It's like WordPress, or
yeah, it's a WordPress site that's completely down right now.
Okay, but who is helping you with this?
There has to be something positive out from this experience. There has to be.
Don't listen to David.
There has to be something positive from it. Yeah, well,
there always is. I'm the same way, David. There always is. We just need to continue learning how to kind of work around these problems we're having, and we just continue to grow. And I'm the same way, because I used to freak out about this kind of stuff. If my site went down for like an hour, I would have canceled this meeting, and I would have just been freaking out, putting 100% of my effort into it. My tech person is now working on it as we're on this, and I've got the mailing list, I've got the Facebook site, and I'll just continue to update stuff on there. So.
That's so strange what's happening, because I was like selling software, but times ago. I was like 16 years old, something like that. But I never had like such kind of problem, because in that kind of business can be huge difference when you do marketing, because we were like making discount on some software. We were selling like for some period some kind of bundle of software at a discount price. So every day, every hour was important for us.
Yeah.
And so we had to structure everything in a good way. But maybe it's so strange that like WordPress, you had this problem with WordPress. If you have the hosting even at WordPress,
I have the hosting actually with Bluehost. It's with the host.
With Bluehost.
Yeah, so I have a dedicated hosting service and all that. So, and
you have dedicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's great. Should work great.
No, everything is saved, everything's backed up, and everything will be there. So, and this is another reason I'm not freaked out, is because this has happened before. We've taken steps to kind of prevent or to mitigate any damage. So, but the only problem is that all of the marketing is automated. So if people can't get our free lead magnets, like the book and stuff like that, then it kind of puts a whole stop to our marketing.
Then you go someone. Oh. Yay! Hello, how do you pronounce Shafi?
We can't hear you.
I think his microphone muted. Yeah. Oh no. He doesn't have a microphone.
Yeah,
the device doesn't have a microphone. If you look at it. Oh, maybe he doesn't want to talk.
Okay, so I'm gonna message him in here.
David is happy that there is someone new today.
Well, Mitch hasn't joined it all either. Neither has Jeff. Mitch is traveling right now, and Jeff is taking a little bit of a sabbatical from the coaching program. He's focusing on growing his own businesses right now. So we've got a couple other people who haven't joined yet as well.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Because I saw their names in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
So
let's see here. Yeah, I don't have him blocked or anything. So.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. David, when are you heading to China? Oh, now your mic is muted.
I'm heading off on Monday.
Monday? How long of a flight is that from where you're at? Shafiq.
It's about hey, Shafiq.
Jason, how are you guys? How are you? Good to see you all finally.
Yes, awesome to have you on.
Good to see you. Good to see you guys.
So we've already done this. No, we can't see you. We can hear you now, though.
Okay. I will fix that. Okay.
Yeah, the button for the video should be in the bottom left. At least it is on my screen.
Yeah.
It's a recording.
Yes, recording. Thank you, David. Yes, it's already recording. I fixed it. On my other videos, on my kind of individual videos, I have it to automatically record, but on this one, I forgot to have it automatically record. So thank you for that.
Hello.
Shafiq.
Hey.
Hi.
Good to see you all. Good to see you guys. Good to see you, Matt, Chang, and Jason. Good to see you.
Awesome. Good to see you, too. Are you busy at work today?
Very busy. Yes, I'm done with the day. Today's meetings are all done. Finished.
Awesome. So we've all introduced ourselves before, but we'll kind of go around since this is your first time in this, Shafiq. David, if you want to start, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, hello, Shafiq. So my name is David. I'm from Australia, Sydney, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a high school teacher.
Nice.
It's a tough job. I'm taking some break from teaching at the moment, so I'm gonna go study Chinese, and I'm gonna do value investing next year. And I'm gonna be living in Southeast Asia, so that's my goal for next year. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this journey with you guys.
Very good. Excellent. Nice to see you. Nice to see you all.
Yeah.
Mateo, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, I am Matteo. I just got my degree in dentistry, and now I am in the coaching program one-to-one with Jason. And so I am looking to learn as much as I can about investing. And actually, right now, I am focusing myself in investing in microcaps.
Excellent. I'll tell you about myself, guys. My name is Shafiq. I'm talking to you from Abu Dhabi now. And I'm working as an independent financial advisor. I have clients, companies, and individuals. I advise them how to manage their money, where to invest, buy gold, mutual funds, stocks, but not stocks so far. But I'm learning how to do this from Jason. And more than that, I'm looking to learn this for myself as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. And Shafiq has a team. What is that picture I posted on Facebook from you and your team when you got my book on float? What do you does your team help you with your clients, or do they help you with some kind of the research? What do they help you with?
Research. They're doing with the research. We have one CFA in the team. She does all the research. We have a service manager. We have an admin person. And I am going to see the client face to face, and I do the meeting, and they do all the back-end job.
Awesome. Which of the ladies was the CFA, if you don't mind me asking?
CFA, that's a new lady in the team. There's one more new person after the book has come. There's one new person in the team.
Oh, okay. So she wasn't one of the ones in the picture. Okay.
No, she was not there. The one was the one from Ukraine. She's the service manager. The other one was a Filipino. She's doing the admin support.
Oh, okay. Filipino. That's where my team is from. They're based in the Philippines. So that's awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good. Very good.
So, you guys all know me. I'm Jason. I'm the the creator of this course and content, and helping you guys reach your goals. That's my number one goal, is to help you guys reach your goals and your dreams, and help you in any way I can. Before we kind of get into the bulk of what I was just about to say in terms of what we're going to learn today, Shafiq, we have been talking kind of back and forth between David, Mateo, and I and my team. And I'll go back and I'll actually give a little bit of context to this first. I've been wanting to do some kind of value investing workshop or retreat or boot camp, whatever you want to call it, for years now. Until recently, I've never had kind of the infrastructure to do so. Me and my team have been working on that. And now that we have members in courses and programs and coaching programs and all this stuff, we're working on a value investing retreat. Again, boot camp, we haven't come up with the name for it, official name for it yet. But we're planning on doing one in the Philippines next year.
Okay.
We're thinking about June 2019, but we may need to change that because my team members, again, they're in the Philippines, so they know when the kind of good and bad times to go there are. And they said that's not a very good time to go there because of typhoons and monsoons and all that kind of stuff.
Good idea.
So, and because I know my wife is also from the Philippines, so I know I know quite a bit about the Philippines, and they get hit by really bad typhoons that can be just absolutely devastating.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to plan something and then have to evacuate or worry about literally our lives.
No certainty.
So, and because I know the Philippines is it gets hit by a lot of natural disasters, we'll kind of have to kind of work around that. But definitely at some point next year, we're going to be doing our first kind of live in-person event in the Philippines at some point next year. So
I will fly. I should fly.
You should what?
I'm gonna fly and come and see you there.
Awesome. So
I'm definitely up for it. I'll be in Southeast Asia all year, so I'm definitely up for it.
Mateo, you said you're in on it too.
Yeah. There is no problem for me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
So,
good.
Yeah. So I wanted to let you know about that, just so you have. Again, that's almost a year away from now, or 9 months from now. So whether we do it more earlier in the year or later in the year, again, trying to work around the typhoons. My team said typically from kind of December to about March, April timeframe is typically the best. But I'm going to be in Spain in March next year. So we're going to kind of have to work around that as well. But we'll figure out a date and time, but I just want to kind of give you a heads up so you can kind of start thinking about that.
Cool.
Done.
Okay. So for this course, you guys know I don't just talk about value investing, finance, and just I'm a big believer in Charlie Munger's kind of concept of worldly wisdom and thinking about different concepts and how they can relate to not only your life, but value investing and finance as well. So I believe in kind of a holistic kind of response, because if you are a better person, or you, in this case, what we're going to be talking about today, if you know how to learn better, if you know how to avoid procrastination, if you know how to reach your goals, if you know how to have discipline, all this kind of stuff. We already talked about discipline a little bit in one of the other sessions, but if you know how to kind of have all this stuff holistically, not only will you be a better value investor, but you'll be a better business person. You'll have better relationships in your life. I'm a big believer in the value investing concepts of patience, discipline, self-confidence. Again, stuff we've already talked about. But some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, again, I'm a big believer in this concept. So we will talk kind of off and on about these things. Last week we had a TEV session where we just did TEV calculations. My plan as of right now is to kind of alternate talking about specific value investing concepts and techniques. Alternate every week from talking about that and talking about this kind of mindset stuff. Because again, I'm a huge believer in if you don't have the proper mindset when it comes to specifically value investing, you will fail. It doesn't matter if you know how to do everything exactly like Warren Buffett does. If you don't have the proper mindset, when it comes to value investing, you will fail, because one of the biggest things in value investing and finance in general is if you can't control your emotions and can't continually learn better, can't fight over procrastination, all these kind of things, again, you will have people like me who are just continually learning, continuing to do stuff, continuing to improve themselves constantly, who just continue to outpace you. So having said that, David and Mateo, I know you guys said you have been struggling a little bit with procrastination. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've been struggling with a little bit? Mateo, go ahead first if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true for sure in the beginning when you start to approach something new. So a new challenge, even in investing, maybe a new concept, a new argument like on float. So when I read that book, was difficult in the beginning to start and to follow. So you won't like to avoid that challenge because you're starting something that is complex and difficult. So I think in that kind of case, it's always in the beginning the problem, because after when you are like when you know how to approach something like some challenge, after the first week that you approach that new challenge, after it will become easy and you will not procrastinate on that. So the problem is just in the beginning, because maybe if you don't know the terms, the terminology, if you don't know how to do some kind of calculation, or you don't understand something, maybe you can lose your patience and you can just avoid doing that at all.
Awesome. So before we get to David and Shafiq on this, I want to stop you there because I have something I can tell you specifically about this. Is I'm obviously a writer. I've written 2 books, and I write pretty much every day, whether it's on the blog or whether it's kind of behind the scenes stuff I'm planning, whatever. I write every single day. Even to this day, and I've been doing this for years. I've been professionally trained as a copywriter and as just a regular writer when I worked at the investment newsletter years ago. I was professionally trained. So even though I'm a quote unquote professionally trained writer and author, I still, to this day, anytime I bring up a blank Word doc, what was the term? The exact term is fear of the blank slate, or something along those lines. Fear of the blank Word doc in this case. Is I will literally, sometimes even to this day, sit there for 30 minutes and kind of have to force myself to write, because getting started is the hardest part of pretty much anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
The first 5%, in my experience, the first 5% of anything and the last 5% of anything are the hardest things to complete. The first 5% is the hardest because in some cases you don't know where to start. You just have to kind of start, but you don't know where to start, so it leads to wasted time. In my case, again, sometimes to this day, 30 minutes of wasted time until I just literally I will force myself to sit at a computer for 30 minutes until I write. This is how one of my tips that I learned when I was at the investment newsletter is I literally have to force myself. I don't wake up every day thinking, oh man, this is going to be a great writing session. I don't wake up every day even wanting to talk about investing or value investing. I don't wake up every day even necessarily wanting to teach, but or get up and get my kids to school. That's something I definitely don't look forward to every day, is because they argue with me, they fight with me, they putz around, I don't want to go to school, all this kind of stuff. I force myself to get out of bed to do these things because I know I have to do these things for my kids, for you guys, for my team, to better myself, all this kind of stuff. So I would literally, and this is built up over years, a habit, is I have to force myself to get out of bed. I have to force myself to literally just start typing on the computer. Sometimes just starting to type, even if it's just gibberish, even if it's just literally doing this, like I just posted in the chat, even if it's just something like that, just getting my fingers moving, getting myself in motion helps. That is one of the biggest tips that I've learned, is get yourself in motion, whether it's whatever your kind of routine is, you need to build up some kind of habit, whatever it is. Again, for me, it's literally sometimes just typing stuff like that on a Word doc. And that gets me going, and then kind of gets me in the mindset, gets my brain working, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of a personal story I could share about that in terms of habits and productivity and procrastination. David, what about you? What have you kind of been struggling with lately?
So the story I tell myself is I'm a big procrastinator. So I just came back from Tony Robbins' event, and has anyone been to Tony Robbins? Unleash the Power Within. You've been?
No, I haven't been in the session, but I read about his books and.
All right. Okay. Cool. So I just came back. It was in Sydney a week ago, and it was something that I learned that was sort of like profound. So apparently we as a human being, we have 6 human needs. Have anyone heard of this? 6 human needs. So there's certainty, uncertainty, significant, love and connection, growth, and contribution. And we will find a way to meet that need in healthy or unhealthy way. So procrastination for me is a way to meet like 3 or 4 of those needs in a very, very unhealthy way. Does that sort of make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I start doing something, and then it just, and then once I lose momentum, it's very hard to get back. That's how I find.
Okay. So, and if you don't want to share your what you kind of struggle with on a specific basis in terms of what
I get more pleasure from just surfing the net and YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. And if you didn't want to, that was fine. One of the things, there are apps, and this is something else I learned when I was at the investment newsletter. There are apps, because procrastination was a huge thing we fought in that arena, because it was typically a bunch of young people under the age of 30, most of us, which we are more prone to procrastination, typically, is what I found.
Yeah.
We were all typically good-looking, active people who wanted to do other stuff outside. We had a lot of interest outside of work. I'll just say that. So,
women.
Well, and there was a lot of good-looking people, both men and women there. So there was a lot of room to kind of procrastinate and get off track. Not just in terms of again, we could talk about finance and value investing forever, but in terms of, again, the opposite sex and being attractive people and all that kind of stuff, and young 20-year-old and under 30 people, with all the stuff that comes with that. So one of the biggest things we fought was procrastination, and kind of not necessarily wasted time per se, but just not necessarily doing what we should be doing. So there are apps, in terms of what you said, David. There are apps you can put on your computer, extensions you can put on your computer that will stop you. It will literally not let you look at things like YouTube, Facebook, whatever you put in the kind of blocked bars. I guess I don't know what they are. I don't use them personally.
Whatever
you put in the blocked session, they will not let you look at it during kind of whatever hours you put on there.
Yeah, that's true, Jason. I have to say I try to use these apps, but I saw that in the end they don't fix the problem.
The underlying problem. Yes.
Yeah, the underlying problem is still there. So
yes, and that's why I don't use them, because I work to kind of fix the actual habit. So David, kind of getting back to your point, the underlying problem is you have a habit of looking at YouTube, Facebook, whatever. So the underlying problem, how to fix that. Have you read the book Mindset and the book Power of Habit?
Halfway through Mindset.
What do you think of that?
I think it's pretty much what, like, a lot of the personal development area is like, if you associate enough pain to something or enough pleasure, you'll find a way to get it. That's pretty much the summary.
Power of Habit is fantastic as well. Highly recommend that. It not only can help you figure out how to get out of bad habits, but it can help you develop good habits, which are sometimes very hard to develop because they're not necessarily filled with pleasure. Like what, to use your word, they are typically what, and another thing I talk about in the course quite a bit is deliberate practice. Deliberate practice sucks. It's hard to do. It's hard to keep at because it's hard work. It's frustrating. It makes you use up a lot of mental energy, which then again, if you've read the book, another book, Willpower, you have a limited amount of willpower kind of built up, and you use it every day on even minor decisions. What am I going to eat this morning? How am I going to get to work this morning? If you're in a relationship, what am I going to do for my boyfriend or girlfriend today? All these kind of decisions, even if they seem minor, wear on your willpower. So one of the major things I've done after kind of learning this is that willpower, you can build it up. It's kind of like a muscle, kind of like habits. You can build it up, but you still have a limited amount of kind of capacity every day. You kind of have a limit. And if you go over that limit, then you get into junk food. Then you get into watching YouTube cat videos on YouTube. Then you get into binge watching Netflix shows. Then you get into all these other stuff that you don't necessarily want to be doing, but you just don't have the kind of mental bandwidth to work on these kind of hard projects. So what I literally do now, and I'm still working on this every day, is I try to structure my day in a routine. So I can tell you my exact routine. If my kids are in school, which they are now, and it's a weekday, I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, get them ready, get breakfast for them, get myself ready, or get myself breakfast, take them to school, come back about 8:15, 8:30. Then I get immediately into working. I hang out with my youngest daughter, who's 8 months old, for a little bit, get her fed, diaper changed, all that kind of stuff if I need to. Then I get immediately into working until about 10:30. Then I take a little snack, get up and just kind of stretch a little bit. Then I get immediately back into working until about 12:30 my time. Then I take lunch and again stretch and move around a little bit just to get my kind of mindset off of the computer, because I found sitting at the computer all day, if I sit at the computer all day, then I get massive headaches and massive dizziness, which exacerbates my dizziness issues. So I have to get up, I have to stretch, I have to move around. So then from there I work from about 12:30 till about 2. Then I go pick up my oldest daughter from school, and while I'm going back and forth between school, I listen to audiobooks, podcasts, something of value. So I use up kind of most of my time that I would be wasting listening to music in the car or whatever. I listen to audiobooks, podcasts. This is one of the ways I can read and absorb so much information so fast, is because I don't waste my time in the car listening to music that I, for the most part, don't even like. I listen to, again, podcasts. Today I was listening I'm re-listening for the second time Extreme Ownership, the book Extreme Ownership, which I highly recommend everybody. Fantastic book. If you want to see my full kind of review on that, go to the blog, and when the blog is back up, when my team members get it back up, after David broke it, go and I have a full review of Extreme Ownership. Highly recommend it. Again, listening to the second time. So from 2:30 till about 3:30, I'm in the car with my daughter or listening to podcasts, creating videos, listening to audiobooks. And then from 3:30 to 4, I'm typically driving my daughter home, talking with her, helping her with her homework. 4 to about 5:30, again, I'm working. 5:30 to 6, I'm typically eating dinner. After 6, I may work a little bit more. Or typically, I learn from the 6 to 7 at night. And then after 7, I spend family time playing video games with my family and friends, kind of relaxing, watching NFL football is back here in the United States. So I watch a little bit of football, hang out with my wife, hang out with my kids, all that kind of stuff, get them to read before the bed. So my day is very highly structured. And I figured that it works for me because it takes out a lot of the decisions I have to make. Again, which saves the willpower to kind of get back to the original point, which allows me to, when I am concentrating on work, focus highly on what I'm doing. There's another book I read that was great, Deep Work. I have a book review of that on the blog as well. It's a fantastic book. It talks about how even only the best, quote unquote, best people in the world can only focus for about 4 or 5 hours a day, in terms of highly focused work, about 4 or 5 highly focused, high value, I think is what he terms it, highly focused, high value work, about 4 to 5 hours a day before their kind of reserves are gone. In terms of their ability to do high value, high concentrating work. So even people who have trained with this kind of stuff for years, again, 4 or 5 hours a day max on highly concentrated work, or your brain is just literally, you're not just going to be able to, you can still work, but you're not going to be able to do highly creative work. You're not going to be able to concentrate at a high level. You're not going to be able to fix sometimes complex problems, all that kind of stuff, because again, your kind of mental reserves are gone. So do you guys have any questions about that before we get to Shafiq, asking Shafiq if he struggles with any kind of major procrastination issues? No?
I don't have any questions about that.
I sort of understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. The only thing I was thinking was about like that maybe so much structure can be even counterproductive, because sometimes you have even to like, choose too much what to. Sometime maybe you can have some idea even in while you are doing something else.
I'm glad you brought that up. So I will literally someday structure, I'll just block it off, and I won't necessarily have something I'm specifically supposed to be working on, and I'll just use that as free time to hang out with my kids more, go fishing. I like saltwater fishing. To think creatively, to think kind of strategically about my business and what I'm doing. I'll just kind of block off some time for that on occasion. Usually I do that once a week or once every 2 weeks, where I'll just block off time where I just kind of, it's necessary, kind of free time, I guess is a way to put it, where it's not necessarily as structured as I normally am, to where I kind of think and do other stuff that I don't normally do. But again, I block that off on my calendar, so I actually I create that time on my calendar. So I kind of, again, force myself into doing it. I don't have to think about it. I just kind of force myself into doing it. So that's how I kind of get around that.
Okay. Yeah, that was my idea too.
And before we get to
Shafiq, the freedom.
Yeah, you need the freedom. And in my opinion, and again, this is probably a big part due to my background, is my dad was in the Air Force here. So highly structured, highly disciplined, and I played sports my entire life from the age of like 5 until I was 17. So again, discipline, structure. You need to be doing this at this time, and then you move on to this. So again, this is probably part of my background as well. This exact kind of extreme structure may not work for you guys, but I found it works for me a lot, because I love
structure.
Yeah, I love discipline. I love structure. Again, it's how I was brought up. I experienced this all through my life in sports, and I'm a big believer that discipline, if you stay disciplined, it can bring you more creative freedom if you make these kind of times that I just talked about, Mateo, where you literally block off time and you think, or take time off, or go fishing, or hang out with your kids, or do whatever, because I have the discipline to block it off. So it's still kind of built-in free time, but it's still disciplined free time, where I can be productive.
Can I quickly ask, do you set like, during the time where you'll focus on work, do you already know what you're going to do? Like,
yes,
today's goal, I will be doing blah, blah, blah.
Yes, another good question. So typically the night before, typically from about 8:30 or 9 o'clock in the morning, I will mark on my calendar what I need to be working on at that time. And it's typically only 1 to 3 things. Another book, The One Thing, another fantastic book, where you focus on the most important thing, then you move on to the next important thing. So one of his big saying in the book is, it's by Gary Keller. He founded Keller Williams real estate company, brokerage here in the United States, and I think it's, to my knowledge, the biggest real estate brokerage in the entire U.S., maybe in the entire world. So what his big kind of point in the book is, you focus on the one thing that either makes the other things completely irrelevant or makes them not as important. So typically in the morning from, again, about 8:30 till about 10:30, 11 o'clock, I focus on either one or two things that I know I absolutely have to get done. So I automatically, and I typically think about this and put it in my calendar the night before. So I automatically know what I'm supposed to be doing in the morning. So I'm highly focused. I don't have to waste time thinking about what I should be doing. I automatically, again, already know what I should be doing.
All right, got it. Yeah. So I understand a lot more about you now. That makes sense.
Yeah, and typically,
so much.
Yeah, and typically what I found, again, this works for me because I'm a morning person. For my wife, it would be different. She's a night person. She hates mornings. But for me, I do kind of my most high value, the work that requires the most thinking power and the most creativity and the most kind of mental bandwidth for me, I typically schedule right in the morning because I want to get it out of the way right away when I know I'm going to have the most kind of mental bandwidth and willpower and creativity. I do that right first thing in the morning. Then typically afternoon is a little bit more free, where I'm either writing or responding to people's comments and questions and messages, stuff like that. So again, what works for me might not work for you, but what works for me is most high value, most creative, most mental bandwidth project I do first thing, or typically it's also the most important project I need to get done first thing in the morning, right when I get home from taking my daughters to school and playing with my youngest daughter.
Cool, thanks. Does Shafiq have any comment?
Yeah, Shafiq, what have you been struggling with anything procrastination-wise, or in terms of procrastination, have you kind of built up habits that may be helpful in this discussion on getting rid of procrastination?
Normally for me, I get burnout. I keep doing things, like if I'm studying, I keep studying maybe for one full week, and then end of the week I'm really done, finished. And then I take a break for 1-2 days, and then again I come back. So same thing, even I exercise. So I normally get burned out. So now what I'm doing is I'm trying to break it on a smaller piece. So one day I have to study for 1 hour at least. So whatever it be, I should be reading, doing. So I don't have any time. The moment I fix a time, I am not able to complete that. It because of my work or family. So I know today I have half day. So I have to do my exercise any one of the times. Before I sleep, I have to complete this. So if not, today or tomorrow I'm going to add on to this tomorrow's block.
Awesome.
It doesn't go perfect like Jason, properly structured, but most of it is I try to maximum at least, out of 10 to get at least 8 to 9 of them done. But 1-2 days, it happens like complete burnout.
That's awesome. That actually brings me to another point I'm glad you brought up, is in terms of the structure. David, you asked about what I do on a specific day. I'm the same way as Shafiq. Usually by Thursday, Friday, because I work 8 to 12 hours, if not more, every single day. And I put in, as you guys can hopefully tell, I put in a ton of mental effort and enthusiasm and everything. So after this, for example, I'll be completely drained for the rest of the day in terms of super highly productive work. I mean, I'll respond to emails and stuff like that, and I'll do some kind of planning. But in terms of major projects, I'll just be completely drained after a session like this because I put so much mental effort and enthusiasm into it. So what I do also in terms of doing things first thing in the day is I also typically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are my super highly productive, not necessarily highly productive, but busy and productive days. Thursday, Friday, I typically kind of wind down a little bit because I'm exactly like Shafiq. Usually I'm just completely mentally exhausted by Friday. I remember when I was working at the investment newsletter years ago, I was down there by myself without my family, and I didn't know anybody when I moved down there. So I spent 60 to 80 hours working. And it was, again, highly creative work, highly stressful work in some cases, and highly work that needed to be done like that in a lot of cases. So I wasn't necessarily stressed out because I purposely build stress out of my life, and I do only pretty much what I love to do, unless it involves my wife's projects and putting flooring in in the house, which we did last week. That was a disaster. But in terms of my work and how I kind of function, very highly structured, try to put 100% effort in everything I do. So I'm just mentally exhausted typically by Friday. So when I was working at the investment newsletter, again, I was working 60 to 80 hours a week. I would literally have to spend my entire Saturday and Sunday. I would wake up, eat breakfast, do a little bit of work, and then take 3-hour naps on both Saturday and Sunday because I was just so mentally drained from the week. So what I kind of do now is I structure most of my kind of high value, time consuming, productive, busy work, whatever you want to call it, stuff Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then I kind of wind down Thursday, Friday, where I think more about what I'm going to be doing next week, what I need to get done for next week, blog posts I need to get out for next week, what major projects we need to get done for next week. And then I kind of start planning them and thinking about them Thursday, Friday. Again, like Shafiq said, sometimes stuff rolls over into Thursday and Friday, and then you have to get that stuff done. But I try to get most everything in terms of the projects I wanted to get done for a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I can kind of plan out the rest of the week, or the rest of next week. And again, Shafiq, and that when you were saying, I was like, that reminded me exactly how I am, because still I'm to that point now, still years later after working at the investment newsletter, where by Friday, I'm just typically completely mentally drained. Again, I still work.
You sent one of the article, I think, in the first class, in the master class, and the first point was slow down. The first point was slow down. There are many things. So that really helps me. I tell my team, the moment the day is messed up, too many things to do, I just deliberately practice to slow down my things. And it helps. It really helps.
Well, and thank you. And I'm glad that helped you. And we all seem very similar in terms of mindset, and we want to be super productive. We're super ambitious people, but sometimes, and even again, I will sometimes, if I'm super frustrated about something and I've been working on it for days or weeks, and I'm just super frustrated about something, I will literally, not necessarily because I want to, but I will literally schedule a day where I want to go fishing, or I go fishing with my dad or friends or family or whatever, just so I can get away from thinking. Because fishing for me is the only thing that I do where I'm not thinking about work or what I should be doing. It relaxes me sitting by the water. It's the only time I can literally relax. If I'm laying in bed, my mind is going a million miles an hour. I struggle with sleep. So
me too.
You too. So
oh my God.
I literally, ever since I was a kid, I remember even when I was a kid, probably 8, 9, 10 years old, I would sit up and I couldn't fall asleep because I would just be thinking about the most random stuff, or I would be spelling really long words like ambidextrous or onomatopoeia just over and over and over again, just because I couldn't turn my mind off. So to that point, what I do is, again, I will literally, if I'm struggling with something, I will schedule a day off where I just go fishing. I will check messages and emails and stuff in the morning and then get back to work in the afternoon. But I will schedule kind of a free day where I just go fishing because I can relax. And again, that's for me. That's the only time I can ever relax. If I'm trying to sleep, my mind's going a million miles an hour. If my mind is always on, I don't know how to turn it off unless I'm fishing. If you guys have any tips on that, let me know. Because I don't have any tips on that. I've been struggling with that my entire life.
Meditation.
That's what I'm going to talk about next. That's one thing that has helped me over, I think I'm up to like 450 days in a row where I've meditated at least for 10 minutes a day for like 450 days in a row.
That's the first thing I do every morning, half an hour worth of meditation and affirmation.
Okay. I do mine at night. I do mine while I'm laying in bed, my meditation, because again, my major problem is I can't turn my mind off and sleep. So I do mine right before I sleep, and it's helped
that
me
makes sense.
enormously.
Yeah.
How much? So
it's awesome.
because of this dizziness medication I'm on to control and my dizziness that I've talked a little bit about with each of you. I use the Calm app, Shafiq. I use Calm. But one of the things, or I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about before that?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about meditation. Oh, so what I do is I meditate for at least 10 minutes every night. And so what I was talking about was how has it affected me. With the dizziness medication I was on, again, even though as a kid, I was just awful at sleeping, and I've always kind of been sleep deprived to some sense ever since I was a kid because I can't turn my mind off. I even before that, I never took naps unless I was really sick. After I got on this dizziness medication to control my dizziness, one of the side effects is it causes drowsiness and sleepiness. So I would literally, until I started meditating, I would take, because I was just so exhausted from my mind always being on, I would literally have to take 1 to 3 hour long naps every single day, or I would just be horribly dizzy, have horrible headaches, just feel awful. So after meditation, I'm down to one or two naps every week. That's how much it's affected my sleep and helped me sleep more. How much it makes, I can shut my mind off a lot better at night now and just go to sleep, and which has affected me every day, be more productive, be more kind of mentally alert, all that kind of stuff. So it's helped me, it's literally meditating for 10 minutes a day has helped save me 2 to 3 hours every single day for every week, which again, I can spend being productive. I can spend learning. I can spend with my kids. I can spend more productive time because I'm not mentally exhausted. So in terms of, literally meditation, and again, I've done it for at least 10 minutes a day, 450 days in a row, something like that. It's helped literally save probably up to 20 hours a week for me. That again, I can be more productive, learn more, spend more time with my kids and family, do that kind of stuff. So if that doesn't say something about the power of meditation, and if you guys don't meditate, and I used to look at people that would meditate and I'd be like, that's such a hippie thing, and that's so weird. How could literally sitting there and focusing on your breath help you in kind of any aspect of your life? But again, just that one thing, it's literally helped save me up to 20 hours a week in time, just because I'm able to sleep better and I'm not so just mentally exhausted all the time. So great. Yeah. So David, what do you said you meditate, and Shafiq, you looks like you meditate if you use the Headspace app. What are your guys' thoughts on that, Shafiq?
I still run. I do running for 2 kilometers at least every day. So even that helps. So because I don't have time to go to the gym. Yeah, I run, yes, because going to gym, it doesn't happen for me. So I just go down my building and I have this Nike app. It's 2 kilometers, something I try to do every day. It takes maybe around 10-15 minutes. And then that gives me a good sleep, and I'm tired end of the day then. Otherwise, like you, I can't switch off. The brain doesn't switch off. I get all these ideas and things, and I'm up the whole night.
Yeah. Before we get to you, David, another thing that I found that helped, that Shafiq just reminded you of, is if I am laying there and I can't fall asleep and I get an idea in my head, I put it in my phone and I write it down in my phone as a note or as a calendar reminder, and it gets it out of my mind. That helps me sleep as well. That's helped a lot too.
I keep a lot of books now, small tiny books everywhere. In my book, in my car, everywhere. Small tiny. I like to write it down. So even that helps writing down helps.
Yeah.
For me, is when I wake up in the morning, I want to start the day feeling grateful. So that has been my goal for the last 3 or 4 months. I want to go through the day not being reactive to what external circumstance. I want to be feeling good about myself. Yeah. I don't try to get it like through unhealthy way. And so I use something called Louise Hay. Have you guys heard of Louise Hay?
Mm-mm.
She's one of like the guru of meditation.
Oh, okay.
guided meditation.
Yeah.
And then she had this like amazing like affirmation like in the morning. It's like, you will be loved the way you are. It's like, it's so good. Like after you listen to it for half an hour, you're like, holy fuck, I'm awesome. So that's how I start the day every morning. And I go through the day like feeling amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. And
I think at times, if you think about, like Elon Musk kind of guys, running a couple of things, projects, business, what kind of things they must be going through, how they keep up all these energy. I don't know how they do it. I think I read some article how they do things. You need to maybe, write something about them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. One of the books I would recommend that it talks about a lot about people's routines and how they start their mornings and stuff is Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss.
4-hour work week.
He's the 4-hour work week guy, but yeah, his book Tools of Titans, where he actually interviews, I think he has like something like 80 interviews in a 600-page book, where these people talk about and these people are like Tony Robbins, and these are like world-class people. They talk about their morning routines, and how they structure their day, how they think about discipline, all that kind of stuff. So it was a fantastic book. I highly recommend if you're interested in profiles of kind of successful people and how to get to their level. That's a fantastic thing. Another thing I do is Grant Cardone. You guys know who he is?
Yeah, I know it. I know him.
Okay.
I follow him on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. So his 10X planner, I write in that every morning and every day. Structure your day out, the goals, what your successes were, all that kind of stuff. That's something I do every day as well. That's helped a lot. Just so I can kind of keep thinking about even success for him, even if it was necessarily not a great day. Success doesn't necessarily have to be something big. It's something I spent more time relaxing today. I spent more time with my kids today. I had a great meeting with coaching clients and coaching students today. It doesn't necessarily have to be I closed like a $10,000 deal or $1 million deal, something like that. It can be, again, something small, just so you have literally successes every day that you can kind of go back and look at to see how far from where you started to where you are now, how far you've kind of come. So I use that 10X planner every day. David, you got a thought? You got a giant smile on your face.
I was talking to a friend on Facebook.
Oh.
Oh, good.
But what I was thinking, Jason, is like, you think that actually these people were like, they were natural talent, or they were like thinking, how can I be more productive? Or let's look at other people, how they are doing. You think that they look at other people, or they just think about themselves? Because I think that they don't care about other people. This kind of at the top, top level.
Fantastic question. Fantastic point.
I feel the same every time I go out and I meet like fund managers. Like I have nothing to offer them, and it's like,
Fantastic point. This goes back to the self-confidence, self-belief thing we talked about before.
Exactly.
So, to get to your first question, Mateo, I don't believe in natural talent at all. I mean, I believe like LeBron James. You guys know who he is, right? I know basketball isn't huge in your guys' countries, but you know who he is, right?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
I believe that obviously I'm not 6'8", 260 pounds like he is. So I wouldn't be good in the NBA. So I believe in kind of physical limitations to a degree. To a degree. I say that to a degree because I believe anybody can do anything they want if they really want to. But my odds of being in the NBA and being a world-class basketball player are slim to none because I'm 5'5", 155 pounds. I'm not 6'8", 250 pounds like he is. Just in terms of kind of physical abilities, I do believe to a degree that people are kind of, in terms of their height, their weight, their kind of history, they are kind of not necessarily predisposed towards certain things, but they have the ability to be, because if you're in the NBA, I think there's been like 3 people ever in the NBA that were under like 5'7" tall. So my odds of making the NBA are very slim to none. But in terms of like mental abilities, I don't believe in natural talent at all. I mean, as long as you have kind of the minimum level IQ, which is 80 or 100 or whatever it is, I believe you can do anything you want. We've talked a little bit about this before. Everybody has one of these. You can learn if you are willing to put in the time. You have the ability to learn anything you want, any skill you want at any time you want, as long as you have one of these. And I know there are still 1 billion people in the world who don't have access to the internet, but they're coming. They're going to be coming online in the next 20 years via ventures with Google and their Wi-Fi internet-enabled balloons or whatever ends up happening. Everybody at some point in the next 20, 30 years will be on the internet. So everybody in the entire world will have the ability to learn anything they want. Why also do I not believe in natural talent? Because I'm proof that natural talent does not exist. But at least in my opinion, I've always enjoyed business and numbers and thinking about things like this. But 11 years ago, I had no knowledge about finance, no knowledge about investments, no skills whatsoever. I couldn't write well. I had no skills whatsoever. When I was at my worst physically, when I was dealing with my dizziness, it's probably around the age of 22, 23, 24, somewhere around there. I literally had no skills. I knew nothing about finance, nothing about investment, couldn't write well, no skills whatsoever. I've taught myself all of these skills over time. And I've beaten Warren Buffett in the first 6 years of my career when comparing investment records compared to his investment record in the first 6 years of his career. So I literally went from nothing to within 10 years time, or nothing in terms of knowledge, to within 10 years time producing higher returns than Warren Buffett in the first 6 years of my career compared to the first 6 years of his career. So I'm not a big believer. Actually, I don't really believe in natural talent at all. I believe that we all can do anything we want as long as we're willing to put in the work, as long as we're willing to put in the time. Obviously, we're all predisposed to something. David, you and I know for sure, because you're a math background, you and I are both predisposed to numbers and business and investing to that degree. But
but anyone can be a good value investor if they really want it bad enough. That's how I believe.
If they have the proper mindset, which is what we're talking about. Yes, I'm a huge believer in that. But that's, again, why we're talking about mindset here and all this mindset stuff, because a lot of people cannot control their emotions. Have you ever been in an area where you just see somebody just go off at the smallest thing and you are like, whoa, that person's kind of crazy? Those people would fail at value investors if they had, again, the Warren Buffett, exactly his process, exactly his mindset, or exactly his valuation techniques. If they had everything he does, they would still fail because they don't have the kind of emotional stability and mindset to do it. But again, to get back to the natural talent thing, I'm not of that mindset, because if I was, then it's David knows this. He's reading the book. He's reading the book Mindset. You're stuck at whatever level you think you're at. I think it's a self-limiting belief.
But actually, what I'm looking at, it's not that you have to limit yourself, but that you have to accept your weakness, and maybe you say, okay, this is not my strength, so I have to work around this in some way.
That's a different question. So that's a different conversation.
Maybe even hiring some people, or using a checklist, or using something, because I think that actually, in the end, I even studied dentistry, so there was a medicine there, and you can't believe that the mind, the physical appearance, you can see like I am taller than that other people, or I am faster than that other people, maybe because of natural reason. Yeah. But even the mind, my mind, it's different from your mind. So I think that maybe you can control emotion better than me because of a natural thing that you have in your mind. Like even the amygdala can be bigger or smaller in some other parts. That it's something physical that people don't understand. So maybe you can overcome that, but you have to accept that, because otherwise you will think that you can do whatever you want. Like, you can do what, you can learn the skills that that your body can allow you to learn. Like, I don't know if I am clear, but there is something that maybe you will never be able to control your emotions because you're born in that way. But that doesn't mean that you still can't do that, because maybe you can hire someone that can double check your investment thesis, for example, so you can work around.
Fantastic points. Have you ever read any of my blog posts about neuroplasticity?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I read that,
The brain that changes itself.
There was a video,
Yes, the brain that changes itself. One of my favorite books of all time is they literally have done studies where a girl literally had half of her brain, and she trained herself to do other things that she couldn't normally do. Are there some dispositions to being more angry or not being able to control your emotions? Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree 100% with that. But do I believe that people can train themselves out of that mindset and out of those kind of reactions if they work hard enough? I do. I believe that people can train themselves out of those kind of reactionary things if they want to, and they put enough work and they know how to do it. Neuroplasticity is a very kind of new study, I guess, new area of study over the last about 15, 20 years. And it's just kind of hitting its stride now as people do more and more research on the brain. But again, another reason I'm a big believer in this is because even though I didn't know what it was back when I was dealing with my dizziness, is I was doing exercises back and forth. I would literally retrain my brain and my inner ear to not to the point where I have controlled my dizziness. It's still not better. It will likely never be better. Like what you talked about, the natural stuff. I will never be 100% of what I was before all of this happened. But I've retrained my brain and I've retrained my inner ear and my dizziness and balance center to compensate, I guess is probably the best word. And again, I've got it under control. Over years, this took years and years of retraining. So again, I think people can retrain their mindset or their brains out of this kind of stuff if they are willing to do it, if they know how to do it, and if they even know about neuroplasticity, which most people do not. In terms of kind of, and again, another personal example is I used to be a pessimist about everything.
Me too. High five.
I used to think negatively about everything.
Shafi is guilty.
No, I can't believe that.
Guilty.
No. I can't believe I heard that from you guys.
So I used to be a pessimist about everything. I used to think negatively about everything. I used to think something bad was going to happen about every single situation I was ever in. Everything. Now it's complete 180. I'm an optimist about everything. My sight is completely down right now. As we were talking about, David noticed, Shafiq, just to catch you up on that, David noticed a problem and he brought it to me and my team that we needed to fix because it was affecting our Google rankings and people finding our website via Google and Google search and all that stuff, which is a huge deal if you have a website. So we fixed it, and it literally broke our entire site. Our entire site, as of a little bit ago, was down for about 24 hours, and all of our pages and funnels, all of our masterclass information, all of it was down. I think my team member has messaged me. I think she got it back up and running now, but it was literally down. If that would have happened 5-10 years ago, I would have just been completely devastated. I would have not been able to do anything. Now, as we were talking about before this, David said there's always a good side to everything. I'm an optimist about everything. I will find a silver lining and a lesson or something great or even something good about everything, every aspect. even the site being down, again, my team and I, we need to learn. This will force us to learn and kind of get and work around these issues in the future. Another example is my dizziness. Again, I'll bring it up, another personal example. My dizziness. Anytime I talk to somebody about this, I usually get the question, or they hint at, if you could go back in the past, would you change it? Would I literally get back 11 years of my life, or 12 years of my life at this point? No. I'm 30, turning 32 in December. So almost 15 years of my life at this point I've spent with my massive dizziness. So would I go back in time and literally, if I could, turn a switch and get back 15 years of my life and not have to deal with the dizziness? And I always tell them no, because it's taught me extreme patience, how to be grateful for things. It's turned me into an extreme optimist. It's set me on the path I'm on today with talking to you guys. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys if it wasn't for me, my extreme dizziness. I wouldn't have written any books in all likelihood. I probably wouldn't even be with my wife or kids. I may not even be alive because I was in such a deep depression at one point with this, is I thought about suicide. So I may not even be here if it wasn't for my dizziness and my wife and all these kind of steps along the path. So no, I would not. Again, just to get back to the optimist thing, is that and the neuroplasticity, again, kind of the long way around from these stories, is I believe, again, because I've done it myself, that I'm nothing special. I will tell you this, guy. I will tell anybody I talk to, when they hear my investment results and everything I've done, the writing of the books, and the acquisitions I've gone after, and all the stuff I've quote unquote accomplished, I will tell every single person I've talked to, I'm nothing special. I just put one foot in front of the other every day and continue to work and continue to grind and continue to work and get better every single day. That's all I do. Nothing special. So that's why, again, I'm a big believer that anybody can do anything, because I am, at least in my personal view, I'm proof that it can happen because I've done it myself. So does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, does make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like if you talk about the mindset, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that can change completely your way, even to to challenge yourself, even doing something like what I wanted to say was exactly that. Like if you had the mindset that you want to achieve something, you will find a way. That maybe it's even asking help to someone else.
Yeah,
that was my point. So
you had a problem with that, Matteo?
Yeah, like because sometimes like I tend to, maybe someone doesn't want to delegate, so you want to do everything yourself, and maybe that's a bad choice. Or maybe you say, okay, I cannot do it myself, I should hire someone, so I will just not do it. Or maybe you are afraid to ask for help, or maybe you don't want because you feel like that something is missing, like is wrong with you if you ask help.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Sorry to cut you off there, but I forgot to mention that in that whole story I was telling is, I believe in playing to my strengths. I will work on my weaknesses a little bit, but what I do is I work on my strengths. I try to focus almost 100% of my time on my strengths. So, for example, I suck at design. I am not an artist. I suck at design. I don't even worry about that anymore. I delegate that to one of my team members who's great at it.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yes, I know kind of what my limitations are and what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And I delegate what I'm not good at to others. But do I think that people can get good at, like, for example, if I wanted to get good at art and design, do I think I could? Yes. Just because, again, I believe if you were willing to work hard enough, you can get good at it. Do I think I could become Picasso at it? No. But I don't try to be either, because I don't want to. I don't have an eye for art. I don't necessarily enjoy art to a great degree in most cases. I just don't have the kind of mental makeup, I guess, to enjoy that stuff, to work on it. Yeah, exactly. So I focus again on my strengths. Yes, blueprint. I focus on what I am good at and what I've developed myself to be good at, is what I do.
Good.
So what time? I want to keep an eye on the time. So typically these have been going about an hour and a half, Shafiq. So we're about an hour and 10 minutes right now. So we have about 20, 25 more minutes left. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about any of this kind of stuff we've talked about so far? Any specific examples in your life of how you've kind of improved something, possibly gotten rid of a bad habit, anything like that?
For me now, I have 2 kids. One is 2.5. The other one is 4 months. And
awesome! Congratulations.
Thank you. That's the biggest motivation for me. Now I have now no room for any delay or procrastination. That is driving me. I have a lot to achieve, lot to learn, and I already feel I'm short there. And I want a time machine. I can travel quick and finish up. And then
yeah.
Awesome. Shafiq, you and I are dads. These other 2 guys are not, to my knowledge, correct?
Oh, okay.
Correct, Mateo and David? You're not dads, right?
Yeah.
Mateo could be there.
Okay. So I'm glad you brought that up, Shafiq, because my kids, and you see me and Shafiq talking about it.
I see you.
Giant smiles on our face. Yeah. My life completely changed when I found out my wife was pregnant. Completely. It almost immediately, as soon as she said she was pregnant, like that, I was like, oh, I need to start doing something to become productive in my life, and so I can provide for my kids and stop screwing around. So kids are amazing motivators. Because you always want to do better for them. You want to have a better life for them. You want to teach them well. You want to be great dads, great wives, great husbands, whatever the case may be. You just want to be great for them, and so they look up to you, and so you can teach them great lessons and all that kind of stuff. And they're a lot of hard work. I will tell you right now, they are a lot of hard work, a lot of frustration. Shafiq, I'm sure you're the same way. A lot of frustration. But they are amazing. And if you struggle with procrastination, I'm not saying to go out and have kids because you struggle with procrastination, but they will fix your procrastination real quick, because they will cry. They will bang their heads. They will whine. They will bite you in some cases. My kids used to bite me when they wanted something. They will do everything. And Grant Cardone says kids are the greatest salesmen in the world, because they will not stop until they get what they want.
Yeah, right.
Or what, in some cases, what they need. So again, I'm not saying to go out and have kids, but they are great at fixing procrastination.
I agree with that. I may find my future wife overseas.
David, yeah, you're going to China. You'll come back with a wife.
Fingers crossed.
And with kids.
What? Are you joining me? Bro, you wanna come?
Yes. Shafiq, circus, yes, definitely a circus some days. Especially, my kids are a little bit older than yours. Mine are almost 8, almost 5, and 8 months. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So next month, October, for example, my oldest daughter has soccer. My middle daughter has her birthday and ballet. And then in between all of that and all the business stuff and my wife's work and all the stuff that we're doing, we're planning on selling a house, moving into another house. We've got 2 different sets of family coming in, one in early October, one at the end of October. So you're right, Shafiq. It's a gigantic circus. But I'm a huge family person. I've always been very close to my family, my brother, my sister-in-law, my nieces, and all that. So I love family and big family person. So again, that's another huge motivator, is family, and all that. Literally everything I do is either to help other people to help my kids, to help my wife, to help my family in some way, to help you guys. It's everything I do is built around helping other people. And I think that's another thing I wanted to talk about today is having a purpose that is higher than yours. Just looking out, looking outside of yourself. Self-motivation is great, but you won't always have self-motivation. If you have kind of a higher goal, higher level goal that you're working towards, it, at least in my case, it's helped me enormously to kind of legitimately write out my goal, my end goal. And I'll tell you guys right now, my end goal, everything I'm working towards, all the millions and hundreds of millions and billions of dollars I'm working towards right now, my end goal is, have you guys ever heard of the Milton Hershey School in the United States?
Yeah, I have.
No, I never heard of
Okay.
that.
So David has. So for if Mateo and Shafiq, if you guys have not, the Milton Hershey School is a school run by Milton Hershey, the guy who founded the Hershey Candy Company in Pennsylvania, Hershey, Pennsylvania. He built an entire school that is run off the profits of Hershey. It's for disadvantaged and at-risk youth, and they've sent thousands or tens of thousands of kids who wouldn't have gotten a good education through that school to college, to sometimes I believe, well, there's an NFL prospect who got drafted last year or the year before in the NFL. He's playing in the NFL right now, one of the biggest professional leagues in the world. And these, again, are disadvantaged kids who would grow up in bad situations, foster kids, orphan kids, kids with drugs, family of drug members, kids who are extremely poor. So they would have had probably a horrible life. So my goal is to build those kind of schools all over the entire world for disadvantaged kids around the world and for foster kids around the world, orphan kids around the world.
I've got a similar goal as well. I want to do orphanage work.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, and I just actually checked the stats the other day. As of right now, there are approximately 153 million orphans around the world, worldwide. So
that's pretty crazy. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. But the reason I looked at that is to get kind of a specific number in mind. So if based on U.S. education standard, they say it's about $2 million to quote unquote raise a kid from kind of birth until 18 years old. So 2 million times 153 right there, that's what, 300 million-ish. So that's my kind of ultimate goal, is to build some of these schools all around the world, and to help these disadvantaged and orphan kids get a great education, get people who around them who care about them, get them the right self-belief, all that kind of stuff. And that requires people, when I tell them I'm working towards making billions of dollars, they look at me like I'm nuts. But this is why, this is kind of my grander purpose, or my grander goal, is I don't care about the money, other than I want to travel with my family and I want the freedom. Other than that, personally, I don't care about the money. I want freedom and I want to travel with my family. But this is my grander goal, is I want to help literally potentially hundreds of millions of people all over the world, not just with this, but with these value investing programs, changing their lives and their families' lives and their kids' lives, and all that kind of stuff. I want to educate literally hundreds of millions of people, if not billions of people, and help them through financial education, financial literacy, value investing, finance, these skill sets we're talking about. And then the school with helping the orphans and the foster kids and all that, and the disadvantaged kids as well. So I believe having a kind of grander goal helps. It definitely helps keep me motivated, because when I am struggling, like a couple months ago, I actually talked about this in a video, is I was kind of depressed and trying to figure stuff out, and but then I got out of it by thinking about these goals and thinking about the people I was helping and thinking about my family and kids. And then I immediately pretty much got out of that depressed state, because I was thinking about these things that, again, were outside of myself. So you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I want to join you. I want to join you on this journey. We've got very similar kind of value and very similar end goal as well.
Yeah.
And Shafiq has a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Shafiq. Shafiq's frozen.
No questions. I said I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought he wanted to talk.
And then Shafiq, that actually brings me to another thought. What David said there is joining each other on this journey. I already talked about the value investing retreat. One of something that David and Mateo and I have already talked about as well is, I want to educate people worldwide, because most people worldwide do not have basic financial literacy. They don't know how to, let alone budget, let alone save money and then create more money. I'm a big believer that with basic financial literacy and these kind of things we're talking about, value investing and finance and investing concepts, if more people get these mindsets, not only will the world will they be better off, but the world will be better off, because they will know how to handle their money. They will know how to create money, which will create less poverty and get away from these kind of generational cycles of poverty that are prevalent in the United States, and I would imagine worldwide, where people just get kind of in the mindset where they can't get out of poverty, so they don't even try. So I'm a big believer in that. But on that point, we've already talked about at some point doing a certification program through the masterclass that you guys are in, creating a certification program out of it. And you guys would be kind of quote unquote certified value investing trainers. And you could, for example, train people in the UAE about this, and David in Australia, Matteo in Italy. And then we'd do this kind of worldwide thing where we'd be traveling, not necessarily traveling, you could stick wherever you wanted, but my goal is to, again, travel worldwide and do these kind of workshops. And then that way we could train more and more people as well. Because I'm only one person. I can't train, millions and millions of people myself. So you're in?
You're in. I'm in.
I'm in.
So, so that's something else we talked about as well. So, I this is one of the first things. This brings up kind of just a funny thought, is that I've always been an extremely ambitious person. I'm not ashamed of that at all. But when I worked at the investment newsletter, one of the first things they said to me when I got down there and they saw how hard I was working, they kind of talked to me and got to learn my personality a little bit. They're like, "You're super ambitious, aren't you?" I was like, "Yes, I am." And a lot of people think of ambition as there's something wrong with it.
It's a good thing.
I think it's a great thing.
It's good.
Especially if you're ambitious and you're Hitler, that's bad, obviously, for the entire world. But all of us, if you're ambitious and you're working towards good goals like we all are, and helping families and helping your kids and helping your communities and helping people around the world. Again, and I've said this often, I will say it again. I believe, and I learned this from Grant Cardone, if you have the ability to help other people, I think you must do it on a kind of a moral level, because if you don't, then you're doing them a disservice by not helping them. And again, not all people can be helped. Not all people want to be helped. But if those people do want to be helped, I believe you have to help them if you can. So big believer in that as well. So you guys have any more thoughts? I think we're about, we got another 10 minutes or so. If you guys have any more thoughts or anything, or if you want to get off early, that's fine too.
No, I think you're right. We need to find how we can take this maybe to the next level.
Yeah.
Make a plan and put a deadline and see what everyone should do on this. I'm really excited. I don't know why we should wait even.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you want to put in like a plan?
Definitely. And that's something we can. If you guys want to, Shafiq, and you don't know this because you weren't on the last sessions, but as of right now, we're planning on doing one of these sessions at least once a week. Typically, they will be every Thursday at this time, because as of right now, I know this time works for everybody, at least on occasion. But at least so we can all plan around our schedules as well. I don't want to continually move around stuff. If we have to cancel a meeting and push it back, I'd rather do that than kind of move meetings around so people have to juggle their schedules last minute. So right now, and we can talk about this in the Facebook group or wherever, if you guys want to talk about this on the next session, we can talk about it on the next session too. But I've been thinking about, like I told David and Mateo before, I've been thinking about literally all of the stuff we've talked about, the certification program, teaching around the world, these value investing workshops and retreats. I've been literally thinking about these for years. But again, until I got my team and we kind of built the basic structure, which is the courses and the programs, I wasn't able to kind of do anything. But if you guys are seriously want to plan this, again, I've been thinking about it for years. So, and I've actually already looked into the certification. There's a wait list to get the certification for some reason. But in terms of the actual teaching kind of workshops around the world, there's no reason, like Shafiq said, that we couldn't start doing that now. Once you guys get through the course and once you guys feel like you're comfortable in teaching other people this kind of stuff. So, hold on. Sorry to cut you off, David, but that's another way you will actually learn faster as well. Is if you teach other people, you will learn faster because you don't want to look like an idiot. At least in my case, when I wrote my book, How to Value Invest book, I researched that nonstop because I didn't want to look like an idiot. So I learned everything better myself. So if you teach others, you'll not only not want to look like an idiot, so you'll learn more, but you'll retain more of the information too because you'll need to know it better. So this will help us all learn faster as well.
I was looking, I think as of right now, I couldn't find any value investing kind of like face-to-face kind of like program. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I know of one. Shafal Nivishek. You guys familiar with him? Vishal Kandawal in India?
Oh, one in India.
Yeah.
He does some in India. But they're more of the typical kind of seminars that we've talked about where they're typically like one day. They're not in depth, kind of the stuff that we're talking about.
You can't get momentum with one day. That's the problem.
They're typically one day, and I've never been to one. I've never been to India. I've never been to one of his events, but knowing him and knowing what he writes about on his site, I'm sure it's fantastic. But again, it's only one day. You can only do so much in one day. So what we're talking about is more in-depth kind of training, long-term training, and actually helping these people again.
I would even suggest sort of like a co-living environment where you sort of live together and breathe value investing for a long period of time, and then sort of immerse yourself into it. Because that's what Tony Robbins says. Immersion is like the key.
Kind of like are you envisioning kind of like a value investing academy where people would go to kind of learn for like 3 months at a time, something like that?
Boot camp.
Yeah, no, there's no reason we couldn't do any of this. We couldn't do like the Value Investing Academy or whatever it's called, the retreats, the kind of worldwide training programs from each of us. There's no reason we can do it, all of these. So again, going back to the optimistic mindset of we can do anything we want. And in this case, there's literally nothing stopping us. Again, it's a lot easier to travel now.
Right now, 4 guys.
What was that?
Sorry, we are 4 now. Sorry, we are 4 at the moment. So if we could multiply and compound, I think,
I'm sure other people will be interested. I'm sure there will be people who are interested in this.
Yeah. No, and that's it's funny you said that word, multiply. Is I'm learning from Dan Sullivan right now, a strategic coach, and he talks a lot about leverage and multiplication. And I've already delegated a lot of stuff to my team. But I'm actually going through the process where we are kind of exiting what I called phase 1 right now. We're going into phase 2. And I just told my my lead virtual assistant the other day, is that I'm going to offload as much as I possibly can to you guys in the coming weeks and months so I can concentrate more on doing this kind of stuff, doing with students online, in person, doing free webinars like the evaluation webinar I was going to do next week until David broke the site. That'll probably be pushed off until 2 weeks from now. But doing a lot more kind of one-on-one or group interactions or traveling for these workshops or academies or whatever, because that is where I need to be concentrating most of my time, not on back-end website stuff. That's what I have team members for because they're better at it. And my time is more valuable. My time is more valuable with clients and students and building all the stuff we're talking about building. So. You talking to your friend again, David, or you got a thought?
No, good. I just changed my name. I thought it was funny.
Oh. Well, that's also funny you mentioned that is because my virtual assistant the other day, because she knows all the stuff I'm working on, and she was like, we need to clone more Jasons. That's what she said too. So Oh, I see your name from Broke the Site. Yep. That's awesome. Yeah, like stormtroopers, except they won't be robots, hopefully, or robotic, hopefully. So
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can talk about this in the Facebook group more. I know looks like it's nighttime pretty much everywhere you guys are at. Mateo, what time is it there?
It's 4:30, yeah. In the afternoon.
4 in the afternoon? What about you, Shafiq?
Yeah. It's 6:30 evening.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So we're about at the 1.5 hour mark now. I know we got families and we all got stuff we need to get on to do. Shafiq, you probably need to get home to your kids and stuff and your wife.
Yeah.
Mateo to your girlfriend, David off to your getting ready for your trip to China. So next week, that is the plan as of now. I have to coordinate because I work at home. I have to coordinate with my mom and dad who live with us and my wife on watching the kids. And my mom, actually, before we got on this meeting, said that they all have appointments next Thursday. So as of right now, tentatively, we're going to schedule for the same time Thursday, but I may have to push it to the next week due to other family commitments and watching the kids and stuff like that. So if not, we can do definitely. We need to talk more in the masterclass group about all this. We need to, like you said, David, keep the momentum going with all this. So
yeah, and not much people talk on the Facebook group. It's just a bit, I don't know.
In the main Facebook group or the masterclass one?
The two?
Yes, there's a regular kind of free. Anybody can join the main value investing journey Facebook group, and then there's a masterclass group which only has masterclass and coaching program students in it.
All right.
So yeah, in terms of the main Facebook group, yeah, we're not working. I'm working towards getting more engagement. That'll happen over time as we get more people in here. But I'm working on getting more engagement in there.
Okay, cool.
So I was writing a lot in the Facebook group of masterclass until the coaching one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because now I can ask you straight. So
yeah, you can ask me all the time. Mateo, if you want, ask questions in there, and David and Shafiq and Mitch.
Yeah, we'll respond.
Yeah, and we'll get more interaction in all these pages. So yeah, because the more questions we all ask, the faster we'll all learn. So
yeah, that's true.
Did you guys complete the whole masterclass? Because I mean I'm done. I have reached the 5, the owner's earning. I'm stuck there. I haven't gone after that. I haven't even opened the 6th one, the last session.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Tell Shafiq where you guys are at in the masterclass.
Yeah, like at which point you mean?
Yeah, which week in the course you guys in?
Yeah, it's like I am finishing the 4th week because now with just on one-to-one we are like going like we are reading an annual report together. So I will finish soon the 4th week. I will start the 5th week, and I am like trying to slowing down right now because like this I can like learn better how to read an annual report, because after you can see how if you can trust the management, if you like the business model, if you can understand the business model, after you can use all the valuation metrics that you want to evaluate the business. But if the quality of the business is not there, the business can be a value trap. You can use some kind of valuation metrics that maybe doesn't make sense for that kind of business. So I think the first thing to understand is the business model, how they are trying to like invest their money, and everything is written in the annual report. And you can even like there was some investors that were saying that the annual report, the good thing about the annual report about the 10K, 10Q is that you can read what the management was saying even 5 years before, 10 years before. They cannot change that. So you can see if they were like saying something, if they were exaggerating or not, if they had overconfidence in some, maybe in evaluating some kind of business prospects. So that is the most important thing. Until now, I think that is the most important thing. And the valuation metrics is something that you need to use just to see if the business maybe is too much expensive or not, but it's something that maybe in the future you can even use less the valuation metrics, and you can do just mentally something like that. You don't even need to use a calculator, I think, because at some point you have to evaluate everything you have to keep your eyes open and look at everything about the business, not just that numbers that they put there. Because I look at some business, even now I invest, especially on the microcap sector, and you can literally see business that they are great, they are cheap, but maybe they are not executing so well, so we'll start losing clients, customers, so we'll start to lose revenue, and so even if it was cheap, it's useless. Like it will be like worthless, that investment.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. And I talked more with Matteo about this because we're doing the one-on-one coaching sessions. I actually value businesses last. It's one of the last things I do. Mm-hmm. When I first started, I valued businesses first, but I don't want to become biased by that number, so I actually value businesses last. So that's a great point. So Shafiq, you're in week 5. So to my knowledge, I think Mitch is ahead of you as of last check. But what did you think of the owner's earnings part? Was it pretty easy to understand, or was it pretty convoluted?
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really a nice trick, a nice one. I'm really excited to use it actually.
Okay, that's good to hear, because I was worried as I was actually creating the videos that the owner's earnings part of the course was going to be the most difficult part of the course. So I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, so you'll be on valuations next when you go to that. David, what part of the course?
I haven't. I'm not doing much of the practice. I'm going through the sessions. So I think now what I'm doing is I'm going back. I'm just starting again. Just going through the videos, just checking again and trying to practice.
Okay, yeah, and you still have your all your one-on-one sessions. So let me know when you want to do those. As well.
Yeah.
Just to kind of reinforce some of this stuff. And Matteo, if you want to talk about
or maybe we can all discuss about one company. We'll all take up one company in a live session, and we all can discuss a couple of points how to go by quickly. At least they need quick analysis.
Yeah, we can do that in one of our sessions as well. We did that kind of with the with the TEV session. Yeah, we all went through the TEV calculation, how I did it, and then these guys asked questions, and we went back and forth from there.
Oh, Shafiq, if you miss, Jason actually uploaded these videos, so if you miss it, just tell him that he can watch it.
Yeah, I put it in the Facebook group and on YouTube. In the masterclass group and on YouTube. So, David, you're in week 3 of the course, right?
Week 2, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to get up to week 5 soon.
And this is something that you all have asked me about is, yes, you can go through the course in 6 weeks, but it's not meant. It's not meant to kind of rush through either. Slow down and take your time so you don't have to go back and learn stuff. I'm actually, and I think I told David this, is I'm actually probably going to change the name of the course at some point.
Exactly.
From the 6-week masterclass to just the value investing masterclass, so people don't think they need to finish it in 6 weeks. Because I've all gotten this question from you guys. It's better to slow down so you don't waste your time and have to go back and I don't know what the hell I'm looking at here because I rushed through the course. So that's something I'm going to change as well. I'll probably change the name of the masterclass at some point.
Yeah, it's better to change from week to section, the name of each of them. And I think a good point to challenge all together to talk about is I saw some interview with an investor that was saying I skipped a good investment that was like Starbucks just because the stocks was a little overvalued, price to earnings around 35, 40. And it was I missed this kind of investment because the stock was a little bit overvalued, but I made the mistake to don't count the good execution that the management team had and the growth ahead that they could have. So I did this kind of mistake. So maybe something that we should talk about is the price of execution, something like that. Can be the title
that's something we can definitely talk about.
The webinar,
the price of management or the value of management.
Yeah, because maybe sometimes a company you have to pay more because the management, like you will pay more a management that is like even Marchionne of Fiat. They were paying much more him because he had a good performance. He was like managing well the company. So maybe you as investor, you will have to pay more for a good management. So you will not have to try to find just a
that's something we can talk about and go through, and I can give you my thoughts on that. And we can all talk about that in one of our next sessions, or even in the Facebook group again. So
I think it's something important because I was looking now at stocks and companies, but it was like, but a good management, maybe it's more important than even just even to buy something really cheap.
Yeah.
So maybe sometimes you say, okay, I will pay more, but I will have a great management, so I will even make more money. Or maybe I will make less money, but it's sure that, or almost sure that I will make that money because the management is great. There is more probability to achieve that kind of return.
That's
so maybe you have to count everything. Yeah.
All right, guys. What did you guys think about the session today? Because if you guys don't like these kind of mindset sessions, we don't have to do them. We can just focus on the technical aspects. What did you guys think about the talk today?
I think it's good to have.
Sorry, go on.
I think it's good to rotate. 1 week you do mindset, 1 week you do valuation, or whatever.
Shafiq, what were you saying there?
Me too. Personally, I think the burnout session, so the motivation is enough, and the things I'll be happy if we could practically do something and compound every single day.
Okay, so something like what we're kind of plan is now, so like one set agenda. Or 1 week talk about mindset, 1 week talk about valuation or something technical aspect or owner's earnings or something like that.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your thoughts, Matteo?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Like to do 1 week, or maybe we have to see maybe in 1 week we cannot in just one session we can finish some argument. We will continue in the next one. But it's a good idea to change from one to the other. But like mindset, I will like maybe we can have to talk about behavioral investing. Like
behavioral finance,
all the things, behavioral finance, like all
one of my
the
favorite areas. Yes,
around that, because like because I think that's really important, more than motivation sometimes, because you have to know because sometimes you can fall in love with the story stock. So
mental models and anchoring bias, and cognitive biases. These are one of my favorite areas to talk about. We should definitely talk about this soon.
I think so. It will be great to do 1 week behavioral finance, 1 week do some practice. So valuation,
awesome
calculation.
Awesome. No, I love talking about that kind of stuff. So awesome. Do you guys have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns about this session or any other future sessions or anything else before we get off of here? No? All right, guys.
I think
Shafiq has a comment.
The plan that what are we supposed to do the next one? Till next week, what is the target or plan, or what are we trying to do?
Because this is only our third session, we haven't really had an agenda too far out, but I can work with my team to build out an agenda so we can kind of work and think about that. Yes, that's a good idea as well. I'll do that. I'll work on that today and tomorrow to work out kind of an agenda and kind of a plan going forward of where we're going to be talking about. So
like a homework kind of thing. If we already know the agenda or the task, we could maybe research some companies, study on something, read on something, and then we all can come and contribute.
Perfect. How about this? Since Matteo and David, we've already talked about companies that or at least an Australian company and an Italian company. Shafiq, if you want to pick a company that we can look at next time, we can go over the TV calculation or owner's earnings calculation or some kind of calculation next week on a company of your choice.
Yes, I have a company. Yes, I think if we can do this one, it would be good. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. The only thing is I have to be able to find the information either on Morningstar or their financial pages or their financial statements on their website. And no banks, no pharmaceuticals, no mining companies, stuff like that. Just because I don't evaluate those companies. so I wouldn't probably bring much value to the conversation. So.
No, I understand. I'll just give you the ticker number or something, so we all can have a check.
Perfect.
The annual report. The annual report is in English.
Yes, that's another one. It has to be the annual report has to be in English as well.
Yeah, the annual report in English.
Yeah,
but I think so because in India, I think they use English as first language, right?
No, I'm not in India. I'm from India, but I'm in Abu Dhabi, UAE now.
In Abu Dhabi. Great. I would like to work there as a dentist, in the future maybe.
You should come here. I have a couple of clients. We have doctors. You should come.
Yeah?
My dad's been to Abu Dhabi. He said it was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. 1 second, guys. Hold. I'm just trying to copy this.
So my virtual assistant, David, while waiting for Shafiq to get the ticker, my virtual assistant who is working on the technical issues has sent me like 15 messages about my sites and pages. So I'm interested to see what she has fixed and what she has to say.
Okay, cool. I'll leave you to it then.
Yeah.
Okay, so David, now you have to help Jason.
Okay, this is the company, guys. This is, I think, that's the exact name in the, I think IDXY.
Love it. Perfect.
Post it on the Facebook group. We'll get discussion.
Okay, this company? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. I see it's an ADR. I love that already. I love ADRs. So, all right, guys. As always, I'm available via email in the Facebook group during these kind of sessions, your one-on-one sessions, whatever. And I'll email you about the agenda definitely for next week. And if I can do that next week on Thursday, if not, it'll be pushed till next Thursday. But I'm going to try to make it next Thursday as well.
Okay.
But I'm always available. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, want to do a one-on-one session, let me know. And I'll see you guys in the Facebook group. Until then.
Take care.
Bye, guys. Have safe travels to China, David.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
So we're going to study this company, right? We're going to study this company and come next week? That's what we are signing up, right?
Yeah. Post it on the Facebook groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll look at this company. And actually, Shafiq, that's something else you don't know, is I will not look at this company until next week. So I can go through it with a fresh mindset so I don't kind of get my own biases in there. But I'll just look at it as we go through it next week with you guys.
Okay.
As we go through it. So I won't have any biases. I will know nothing about the company other than its name. So I'll be on the same playing field as you.
We are going to, I'm expecting to do the preliminary analysis, I think, together. Hopefully, yeah.
We can do the preliminary analysis. We can do DV calculation. We can do owner's earnings if you want to go that far, depending on how much time we want to put into it. We can do all of it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Great. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, guys.
Have a good night.
See ya.
Bye.